Hello.
Hello.
Everyone. Welcome back to Curiosity Cove. My name's Veda.
And this is your trusty captain speaking, and today we're talking about Survivor.
Survivors. I'm a survivor.
I'm not gonna give up.
Nothing can stop me. Keep on surviving. Uh, yes, today we're talking about specifically like you guys remember the stories of like I survived, like when I don't know what the show was actually on. I just remember the show itself. But like there were some gnarly stories that came out of that, and one of them is from the town that my family lives in. So I'm talking about that one. But yeah, we thought it
Mhm.
would be fun to share some that maybe don't end in like a whole bunch of people, like everyone dying.
Yeah, instead of like Curiosity Coroner of like murder, mass murder, essay, like really
Yeah.
bad stuff that does not have a good ending, we're gonna end on a good ending.
Yeah, yeah. We're bringing a little bit of
It's
light
still
to
pretty bad.
curiosity.
It's still bad, don't get me wrong.
It's still not great. I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
But yeah, before that, how are you? How have you been the last couple weeks?
Pretty good. I can't complain. I feel like I like look back on it recently, just like, man, have I been like doing things or have I just been like on an endless loop of work, games, sleep, go? And it's kind of been that, but I really can't complain because like I'm getting like reacquainted with being an adult, like
Yeah,
adulting things, like making sure like everything's like where my money's going, where everything is like being like distributed to and shit like that. So I will say it's definitely still a learning curve, but I think we're at the tail end of it where like I can start having fun and having my life back.
yeah, hell yeah,
Speaking
that
of
would be
today, I
great.
did like a big spa day just
I
for me.
love that for you.
And so I loved it. It was such a chill day. I had the windows down. I was blasting music. I got my nails done. I did my hair. Like I was fucking chilling all day. Like it was so nice just to have like a little me day.
That's
But how
so
was your
beautiful.
day? What was up with you?
Oh, well, I worked today, but I've had an amazing last couple weeks. I've like done shit. Like we went to barbecue, so that was super fun.
Yes, we did do
Um,
that. Oh my
that
god,
was
I
yeah,
pigged out,
God.
bro.
Oh my God, it was just like it hit so good. Like, and they had the radish and oh heaven.
Yeah.
Um, but also it was just like so nice to see Oma.
Yeah,
Like it
it
was just
really
so
was. I
nice.
freaking love that woman.
She brightens my day for real, for real. Um, but other than
Oh
that,
my
I went
god.
to on. Okay, wait, that was Friday. Saturday, I chilled.
Mhm.
Well, we had D&D on Friday too, because I finally got to join the campaign. Yay!
Yes, dude, the
Um,
campaign's so much fun.
I cannot. I'm sorry you're gonna be missing it, but I can't wait for this week. It's gonna be so
No,
exciting.
it's gonna be so good. I can't wait to read up on the notes from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to be at your level of note-taking ability.
That's okay. I always slack in the parts where I'm in because I'm actively trying to RP and like make sure I'm like getting the
In
most out of
character
what
and
my
stuff,
character is
yeah.
doing. So then I normally jot down little tidbits and go fill in my spots later.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
so fair. I have a feeling I'm going to adopt that. Can I have a second for notes real quick? But
Rush doesn't mind at all. I love that
mine will
man.
probably be like way more short formed. I don't know. I type fast, so maybe I'll be able to do it, but like
That's totally okay too. I know I do the most for
you
mine.
do, yeah, you go like overboard in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we got to do D&D. Saturday I chilled because I was like, this is my one free day. Sunday I went down to the city. Well, actually Saturday night, but then Sunday I went down to the city with a buddy of mine. We saw the F1 Lego pop up.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that was sick as frick. Um,
That's awesome.
we got to make little like Lego cars that we were able to like put in like a really bullshit like wind tunnel to like test the aerodynamics, and then you get to race them and blah 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 blah. And we didn't get to do it because we were we got there at like 11:30 in the morning. You had to go on a wait list, and we didn't get in until 4 o'clock. We were the last two people admitted.
No way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes, and it was the last day, so we were like, "Damn!" By the hit, like by the skin of our freaking. That's insane. And then we were. I will whole ass admit this. I narked on the guy who tried to sneak in behind us because I was like, do you know how many people got denied? You're not going to just sneak in. So
Mhm.
I didn't even tell one of the workers. I told like the guy, like the guy. And he came over and he's like, buddy, you're going to have to get out of line. And
Mhm.
this kid is like live streaming. And I'm like, there are children here. What are you doing? So then the guy was like, huh? And he's like, you have to get out of line. The kid was like, I don't want to. He's like, all right, well, you got to get out of
I
line.
was gonna say, I don't really know if you understand how this works, but you have to move. Like,
You
literally
don't just
out
get to
of
say
the way.
like, well, I want to stay here. But yeah, they got him out, and then the guy turned to us and he's like, all right, mental snapshot, you guys are the end of my line. Anybody after you goes. Um so yeah, we were the last two admitted. I think there were 230 people on the wait list after us. So I feel
Mhm.
bad for them. But we didn't even get the full time in there. Like it's apparently like an hour long event and we only had about 25 minutes. So we just kind of made extra cars because you're only supposed to have one per person. So I made one for my brother. He made one for our friend.
Mhm.
And then I think the guy who we helped out with the line, he kind of didn't care that we were just sneaking more cars because he's like, you're not going to get your driver's license picture anyway. And the driver's license
Oh.
pictures were so cool. But we said next time we'll just go way earlier because I'm sure they'll do it again.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, we did that, and then on Monday, yesterday, I went to the Renaissance Fair with my cousins,
True. Oh my gosh, I
which
forgot.
was so fun. It was so fun. We got to see a sword swallower. I've learned I don't think I'm into sword swallowing.
Of course, of
I've
course.
learned that I don't think I'm into it. I think it's scary and I don't like it, and I looked away for most of it. Um, there was a point where he swallowed, like the balloon animal balloons, like the really long ones.
Yeah.
He swallowed one. He never took it out. I don't know where it went.
Oh.
He never took it out of his. He swallowed the whole thing. We were all like, yeah! And then he started talking, and we were like, um,
Oh.
where is it? My theory is that he very subtly popped it and just pulled it out without us seeing, like sleight of handed, because he
I
said
hope that's what happened.
I I pray to God that's what happened because if that thing was I can't nope no no um I
Yeah, I
don't
don't think
like it.
I'd no, I don't
I don't like
like.
it. I don't like it. And then what else did we see? We got to see Dungeons and Shakespeare, which was really fun. It was about Cleopatra and she turned into a hippogriff. Um
Oh.
no, I'm sorry. She turned into a mosquito creature and fought a hippogriff. And then an
Oh, I was like, that's a very different like 180 you just did from a hippogriff to mosquito.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It was all they were like pulling them out of bags and then they had to roll D20s for the battles or whatever. Um but the character what character did he pull? There was a guy who pulled a character and you could tell he was a theater kid. So it was really really fun because he like knew what
Of
the hell he was
course.
doing. Um so there was a theater kid who pulled out a character who was dumb as rocks.
Mm.
And I think if I remember correctly, the girl that came up on stage pulled an ogre. But basically, the whole storyline was they had to find a way to get rid of the curse that was on Cleopatra that turned her into a giganto mosquito. And
Okay.
if they didn't, then an evil demon would summon his helpers to kill to kill everyone. So
Oh.
um, they did not break the curse, and they called up all the kids who even killed the demon. By the way, so we got to watch a show end with children mass murdering.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
kind of
yay.
sick, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so that was I was like, it's gonna be really hard for me to explain this to anybody. But yeah, then I got
Yeah.
like a really cute circlet, and I got to eat some really good food, and I got to drink a shit ton of sassafras, which is just licorice.
I was gonna say, what's
Yeah,
sassafras?
it's just a licorice drink.
Hmm.
Yeah, really good, really tasty. I like it. But yeah, that was my weekend, and it was jam packed, and I had so much fun, and somehow survived all of it without like feeling like I was like exhausted.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, big up.
I want to kill to go to one soon.
We can go next year if
Mm.
you want.
I was gonna say maybe next year I just take off a day and we go.
Well,
Because
we
that would
could
be so much
go.
fun.
Yeah, we could, because yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they're open ever on your days off.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can like take a singular day off and we can go down and I would recommend probably like a Sunday because Saturdays are fucking crazy.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
or Labor Day. Labor Day is always like pretty chill, so
But
yeah, deal. Okay.
well, we're aiming for that for next year. Let's
Hell yeah.
go.
Hell yeah. But for this year, for this day, for this hour right now, we're going to talk about survivors.
We are.
Yeah,
And
Cap,
I
take us away.
when picking mine, well, for starters, let's preface. We were going to do a cold case, but we realized that when we first did cold cases are only famous for the ones that are really well known, and then otherwise it's just kind of like
Yeah.
this body's unrecognizable. That bitch is in the freezer. Like,
They're all
so
Jane Does or John Smiths, dude. I like there's
yes. So
nothing to
we
do.
were sitting there and we are like, damn, we really don't got anything to talk about. So then I went off on a bunch of different rays. I went down like biological phenomenons, ancient civilizations, genetic anomalies, like stuff like that. And I was like, dude, I can't lock down anything. I can't really like I can't pick one. I don't know what to do. And then Veda was like, let's do I survived. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And she was like, people who've survived serial killers or murderers or crazy people. And I said, I can work with that. So I looked up, and I quote, crazy as I survived stories from murderers.
Wait, that's so funny.
And this one came up as number 2.
Excellent.
And I was reading this and I was like, you know what? Number 2, let's see what it's about. This is bad. This
Oh.
is like to,
Is it as
the
bad as the
girl's
one that I
15
told
years
you
old.
about?
Um, no, but for different reasons though.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. So mine is a 15-year-old girl. Her name was Mary Vincent, and this happens in 1978. In summary, before I go into details of each event or like the preface, the attack, and then what happened afterwards. So in 1978, Mary Vincent was attacked by a man who severed both of her arms. I later found out it was at the elbows, and threw
Oof.
her down a cliff to die in a ravine.
Oh.
This chick, bleeding out and barely alive, packed her arms with dirt and crawled her ass up this cliff, flagged down a car, and identified her attacker in court.
Jesus Christ.
15 years old, by the way.
Mine's also 15, but continue.
Yeah. So, how did she get in this predicament? Apparently, she was hitchhiking near Modesto, California, because she was trying to go to her grandfather's house because she was quote unquote running away from home. She I don't know what her family life was like. That didn't really go into the detail in regards on the information I was looking up. But for some reason, Mary was upset with her home life and decided just to try and go to her grandfather's. But while she was hitchhiking on the highway, an older man pulled up in a blue van and offered her a ride. She was like, "Oh, well, it's not that far. I could just get another car. It's fine, no whatever." But he was very persistent. He was like, "No, don't worry. Like, I'll help you out. I got it. I'm not really doing anything. No worries." And so she was like, "Oh, okay, sure." This man was named Lawrence Singleton, and he was about 51 years old.
Ew,
He
what
was
a
a former
name.
merchant seaman.
Uh,
So the age gap, to remind people, is 51 and 15. Apparently, he had been driving along this highway all day. He had been trying to pick up passengers the whole time, but it didn't work because none of them were like, yuck, you're crazy and creepy and old and no. But unfortunately, Mary didn't really know any better, so she was the first victim of the day. And we don't even know if any prior victims on this point, by the way. I didn't find anything else on this man. I just know about this. Oh, well, 2. This and then something that happens later. So she gets in the car and they're driving. He's like talking to her, like, yo, where are we going? Like, how's it going? A little young to be going on the highway for hitchhikers, but I'll just make sure you get there safe. And she was like a little hesitant answering him, like, oh, just my grandfather's, whatever. She got deathly silent when he turned down a deserted road. That's
Mm.
when her instincts were like, oh shit, I fucked up. So before like she turned to go do anything, because she's obviously like looking all around, like checking out the van, whatever, he knocks her unconscious and pulls over on the side of the road, strips her of her clothes, and binds her somewhere in the van. And unfortunately, also trigger warning to anything that's about to come out of my
I'm
mouth and
literally
moving
typing it in the
forward.
chat now.
Beautiful. But I know I listed other things prior, but this is where it's gonna get a little rough. But he then essayed her for hours. This happened
Oh.
sometime in the evening, like around dinner time or so, and he repeatedly essayed her till the morning came up. And so she obviously was unconscious initially, but then she woke up and she was like, please stop, please stop. This is not okay. You can't be doing this. Please stop. He didn't listen to her the whole time. Come the morning, she was still pulling on her binds and begging for him to stop. And he just laughed at her. And he said, you want to be set free? I'll set you free. Sure. Pulls out a hatchet from somewhere in his van and severs both of her arms from, again, the elbow down. I guess it would be like her whole forearm, hand, wrist, all that jazz. Completely lobbed off. And then he picked her up and just threw her down a ravine next to the deserted road. And then he just sped off. There was nothing. He didn't say anything else. He didn't even check to see if she hit the bottom. Just threw it. And so, lying at the bottom of the ravine, Mary could recall only repeating this couple sentences just to try and get her through. She kept on saying, I can't go to sleep. I can't go to sleep. He's going to do this to someone else, and I cannot let that happen. So, what does she do? She pushes herself up on her, I'm going to call them nubs for lack of better terms, pushes herself up on her nubs, packs them with dirt, leaves, whatever she could find around her. Obviously, and I preface this when he started this, but she's naked. Like, she does not have any clothes. No shoes, no socks, no shirt, no nothing. She packs those in and then she proceeds to climb up this cliff face. And it's not just like a simple 6 foot, even 10-foot ravine, 30 feet. So I don't even know how she does this, but this little girl climbs up, barely conscious, naked, no arms, made it to the top, and she stood up and just started waving her nubs to try and get someone to pull over. Anybody. She was flagging down anybody who would come and try and save her. So, two people were driving this little van, driving on by, and they screeched to a stop. And the only reason why they were like, oh my God, this looks a little off was, again, she was waving her arms around above her head, obviously, so she couldn't bleed out. But there was strips of skin, muscle, tendon, her bones were sticking out of her nubs, and they rushed over, brought her in her car, and drove her to a nearby hospital where during recovery a forensic sketch artist came and gave her a quick rundown of like how we're going to interview you to try and get like the information on this man. Do you know anything? Let's get a picture going, all this jazz. So this was horrible.
Yeah.
I can't even believe she must have had other injuries minus the arms, obviously from the defilement and also being thrown down this cliff face. So I didn't look up anything else in regards to that, but the arms being lobbed off are super important in the court scene. So obviously they were able to piece together that Singleton was the one who did this. And so they put him on trial where Mary testified in court, and she came up and she had prosthetics at this point.
Hmm.
Again, this was 1978, so they're not like the most up to date prosthetics.
Right.
But basically they were little sleeves that went over her nubs, and then the quote unquote hand that was made was a hook. It looked like two excuse me, two hooks. And then it was basically like a big Y, and they were silver hooks. So the most badass moment in here was she stood up from her little testify cube area, her little seat, and she stands up, points her hook at him, and says, "I was attacked, I was R worded, and my hands were cut off. He used a hatchet and left me to die." The whole
Oh
courtroom was deathly silent.
my God.
After all the evidence and jury like talking and whatnot, Singleton was found guilty of attempted murder, mayhem, kidnapping, and multiple sexual assault charges.
Damn
But
straight.
he was only sentenced for 14 years to prison.
No.
14.
Not even 25?
Nope.
What the fuck?
Unfortunately, this was the maximum allowed sentence under California law at the time. But even worse, he only served 8 years.
No.
Yeah. In 1987,
This
he
is
was released.
California?
Yes.
Californians, you guys gotta go. You gotta get out.
Yeah. In 1987, he was released and faced public outrage. Towns all over California were protesting his release, saying that he was so horrible. How the hell is he being let out? He's not allowed to live in our town. He's going to do this to someone else. Hell no. And so no California community were allowing him to live there. So in fact, he was actually housed in a trailer on San Quentin's prison grounds for a couple years. Um, I assume he then found a homage somewhere else. I didn't find the county, but he was allowed to live outside the prison walls. I'm assuming after a couple years because there's no way the townspeople would have allowed that to happen. But unfortunately, in 1997, this is now 10 years after being released, um, which is also 2 decades after Mary was attacked. Singleton murdered a 31-year-old Roxanne Hayes in Tampa Bay, Florida. Uh, he was sentenced to death, thank God, but sadly only died of cancer in 2001.
Wow.
Mary, quote, commented to one of the newspapers or interviewees and said it had happened again before anyone realized he shouldn't have been released in the first place.
Wow.
So, after that horrible thing happened, not only to this little girl, but to Roxanne Hayes as well, Mary had just started getting over her nightmares from that night, and she's been going through therapy all these years. And now her nightmares are back. And unfortunately, they start off with her being kidnapped and the beginning of the attack, but then it turns into a third person experience where she's looking in on him doing it to some other little girl. And so she took action and started sharing her trauma and her story to any legislative body and all over the internet and whatnot, and it hit so many hearts and made it through so many um lawyers who were like, yeah, this is really messed up, this shouldn't have happened in the first place. California later passed a law that increased the maximum penalty for crimes like singletons, and this is formally called the Singleton Bill.
Gross
Mary
that
is
he's
now
immortalized,
married.
though.
I know, I wish they named it like
After her.
Vincent's Bill,
Yeah.
which is her last name,
Yeah.
or Mary's Law or something like that. But in greater news, she married and she had 2 kids, and she taught herself how to do art using her prosthetics. She and her husband built her a bunch of different interchangeable hands. so she could do all of her hobbies. So she learned how to do art and create tons of paintings that specifically look to empower female figures and other small girls. And she included obviously the paintbrushes and like not easel, the like paint swatch holder thing into her prosthetics, but she also was a big fan of bowling as well, was something she enjoyed. But basically her and her husband got spare parts to make these prosthetics from old stereo systems and old refrigerators, which I found super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But not only did Mary go through this very scary and tragic, traumatic story for her, but I was gonna say it didn't happen to anybody else, but it did, unfortunately. But at least they only found one other time that it did happen, and it was 20 years later. But she pushed through and she was able to get a law passed, so then it wasn't able to impact any other little girls like she was.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the story of Mary Vincent, the 15-year-old girl who went through a traumatic story in 1978,
Wow.
and her killer died in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Still, the 30-foot cliff face crawl is probably the
That
biggest like
is,
jaw drop.
dude. Like that's insane. Honestly, the fact that she survived, crazy. The fact, like her sheer willpower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, it's the same thing with mine. Like you will see the similarities, but like when you are that age, or like when you were that age, can you imagine what you would have done in that situation? I would have croaked. Sorry, bye. Would not have been
I
for
think I
me.
would have attempted, and then I personally would have bled out.
Same. I don't think I would have had the adrenaline to do anything to help myself.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
so
just at
crazy.
15?
That's so
No.
crazy. No, yeah. I'm trying to think, what was
It's
I doing
insane.
at 15? Setting off bottle rockets from my friends' cars.
I was
Going to
in
music
school for one
concerts.
and playing video games still.
Yeah,
So
same. I mean, this is why I would never get kidnapped. I was always inside or I was at a concert with like way too big of a group of people. So,
could not catch me alone.
yep, you literally couldn't. So, I think I wouldn't have, but if I had been in that situation, I don't know that I would have been as smart as the girl I'm about to talk about or as determined as that one.
Yeah.
I'm so happy she got married though. Like live your life. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you.
Cause like I know we've looked up like countless murder stories and stuff like that, but it always I have two things. Number one, it always blows my mind when the serial killer themselves has a happy family and they have no idea. And then number two, that the victims that do survive, they're sometimes too traumatized that they can't find a significant other like that, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. So
But
yeah,
those are the two biggest, like, damn,
mhm.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Mine takes place, let me set the scene. It is the one we're going to be talking about is early 2000s Columbia, South Carolina. For those of you who may not know me all that well, Columbia, South Carolina is near and dear to my heart. Unfortunately, this happened there. But it is near and dear to my heart. All of the places that we will be discussing are places that I, in fact, was around when I was growing up in the same time period. So this one freaks me out a little bit to talk about. Um,
Jeez.
but getting started, our topic today, um grand scheme, is the crimes of Richard Mark Edward Evanitz, who was born
Wow, what a
in
name.
I know, who was born in Columbia on July 29th, 1963. He was the eldest
Mm.
of three siblings. His father was an alcoholic, specifically after their parents separated when he was, I think, at the age of 12. Prior to that, he drowned Richard's dog in front of him.
Oh,
And then when he was 6, he tried to drown Richard. So he grew up a
what?
little traumatized, for sure, for sure. But we don't see his crimes start until I think it is May of 1988. Now, the first couple that
Okay.
I am going to talk about, they are not directly linked to him, but it is highly suggested that he was behind them. Um, his assaults started in January of 1987. He essentially was in Jacksonville, Florida, and he exposed himself and masturbated in front of a 15-year-old girl named Kelly Ballard. She was walking with her 3-year-old sister down the street. He was then seen following her the next day in a small parking lot. And essentially, what happened was Kelly and her mom took down his license plate number and they alerted the police. Um,
Mm.
he told the police, I just have a problem with doing that in front of girls. So,
Okay.
yeah, he entered a plea of no contest and was essentially sentenced to 3 years probation off of that. Um, then in 88, this is where we kind of start seeing the abductions start that he may be connected to. On July 6th of 1988, there was a 12-year-old girl named Sarah Margaret Cherry who was abducted from Bowdoin, Maine. Sorry if I butchered that. While she was babysitting. Her body was found days later in a wooded area not too far, bound, stabbed, and assaulted, before evidence points to her being strangled with a scarf. Um, there was
Mm.
another man named Dennis Duchesne who was convicted for the murder, but there are people who believe that this was actually him because he was stationed on the USS Kolsch, which was in Portland, Maine, at the same
Mhm.
time. He was linked to the murder due to both his MO as well as the fact that he had access, like clear access, to a car that matched the description of a vehicle that was seen near the scene of the crime. So,
So, but they never found out that if it was or was not him, he was just convicted?
yeah, Dennis Duchesne, no. They linked evidence by the car and everything.
Oh, got you.
Dennis
Damn.
Duchesne was convicted essentially based off of like I guess if you want to call it like proof of access and like
Yeah.
like petty evidence, I guess, but it was enough to
Yeah.
bring him in. So they
Mhm.
brought him in. He to this day, because he's still convicted of it, to this
Yeah.
day he is still insisting that he is innocent. Meanwhile,
Mm.
the guy who had a car that matches Richard, who had a car that matched the description of the one near the scene and has an MO that fits this victim walked free from it. So how that happened, I don't know. That's crazy, Maine. Get your shit together.
That's
Um
crazy.
then there was another one that is a possibility, but like from what I understand, because there's not too much on it since it's not directly linked to him, the whereabouts of evidence are kind of like questionable during these two. So these are related to the Route 29 stalker, which is essentially a bunch of like a series of missing persons cases along Route 29 in Virginia. Um, for those of you who don't know, Route 29 runs through like Baltimore, Maryland, and then down to Charlottesville, Virginia. Um, and I think past it, but I'm not entirely. It's been a long time since I've been down south. But
Mhm.
essentially, essentially where we go from here is on Route 29. Alicia Showalter Reynolds, who was 25, was abducted without any witnesses, but her car was found near Culpeper, Virginia. Um, there were witnesses who said that she was talking to a blue pickup, not at the time of her disappearance, but shortly before. And her body was found 5 days after she disappeared. She disappeared on March 2nd, 1996. Her body was found on May 7th. So I'm sorry, it's 2 months. Um, in a wooded area 15 miles from the spot that her car was found. On September 22nd, 1996, so that would be 4 months later, there
Mhm.
was another woman's remain found burnt up in a wooded area
Oh.
just 10 miles away. So the authorities do believe that evidence killed both of these, but there's no like evidence that can actually fully link him to
Mm-hmm.
them. The only thing is that because he was convicted, or well, because he was found to be guilty of murders within the same area, they assume that because of the time period in the area, this is also him. Um,
Yeah.
but moving on to actual murders that he committed, Sophia Marlene Silva was 16 and was abducted straight up from her home in Spotsylvania County in Virginia.
Oh.
She was last seen holding, like clutching her homework on the front steps of her house. Like that was the last known whereabouts of her. Um, this one actually had no witnesses whatsoever. Like they saw her
Yes.
on her porch with her homework and then nothing.
Gone.
So
Jeez.
a month later, she is found not so far, like in a wooded area, and her body is completely decomposed. So there was just like
No
no
burn
way.
though?
No. There's just no burning.
Hmm.
It was just completely decomposed. So it was just like there
It been out
are,
there.
yeah, there are things that I
Mm.
think are inconsistent for the other two, which is why I think they're not directly linked, like why they can't, because they can't say,
Mhm.
oh, it fits the MO. One was 25. The rest of these are young girls. Like
Mhm.
it's not even same. And then the other one was burnt up, which doesn't make sense because he didn't burn any
They
of
would
his other
normally follow
victims.
the same MO.
Right, exactly. So I don't
Yeah.
think that those two are included, but authorities think they are. I think authorities just suck at connecting dots. But but yes, that one happened. And that was on September 9th of 1996. And then on May 1st of 1997, there was a girl named Kristen Michelle Lisk, and then her sister, Catherine Nicole Lisk. They were 15 and 12, respectively. He abducted both of them from their front lawn in Spotsylvania, and they were both last seen on their school buses. So after he essayed them, he then strangled them and put their bodies in the South Anna River, only to be found 5 days later.
My God.
Yes. And then where he fucked up was he went after Kara Robinson. And let me tell you, if you need a hero, Kara Robinson might be your girl. This I it blows my mind. I Most of the information that I'm about to share with you comes from a single article called How Kara Robinson Outsmarted a Serial Killer. Um she is such an inspiration. The interview that I watched with her on Oxygen was like like how the fuck did you do this? So our story starts. She is 15 years old. She is with her friend in Lexington, South Carolina. I want you guys all to know Lexington, South Carolina is where all of my family lives. So this is
Damn.
very crazy for me because when they were talking about, I'm not going to go through it because I don't want to dock my family like that, but when they were going through like specifics, I was like, I know that street, I know that corner, I know that, like, it was so weird. Um, but yes, she is playing in her friend's yard in Lexington, or they're hanging out or whatever 15-year-olds did, um, in 2002. Evanitz pulls up in his car, right? And he gets out and he's like super warm and inviting. And he's like, are your parents around? Is anybody home? I've got some pamphlets. I'd like to talk to them, blah, blah, blah. And she says, I'm really sorry. My friend's parents aren't home. This is my friend's house. It's not my house. And she
I also
says,
would not share any of that.
I know.
Oh
And
my
she
God.
says in the interview that if she could go back and fix anything about 15-year-old self, like her 15-year-old self, it would be sharing that. But
Yeah,
she
gotcha.
also said, like, I knew somewhere in my head that that was a red flag, that he was
Mm.
asking specifically if her parents were home.
Yeah.
What happens next is he pulls out a gun and holds it to her neck. And
Oh my.
he walks her back to his car where he has a black storage bin, and he tells her to get inside it after gagging her. And he basically says, if you scream or do anything, I will shoot you. She says, I think in that moment, I felt like terror, and I just knew that I needed to do what he told me to do. Um, he then, to sum it up, drives her to his apartment, assaults her, and then forces her to take drugs. But while in the plastic container, she essentially paid attention because she knew the area. She paid
Mm.
attention to every turn that they made because she could feel it in the bin. So she was like, we're taking a left. We're driving for a while. We're taking a right. So she could get the general idea of where they were headed. So
Mhm.
once they got to a certain spot, he stopped off on the freeway, and he opened the container, and she just stayed as calm as possible. And he was like, I'm now going to tie you up. So she was like, I needed him to think that I wasn't going to try anything. So I just went along with it. So he essentially ties her up, puts her back into the container, and then drives just a few minutes later, where they eventually reach his apartment that he shared with his wife.
Oh my god. Was his
when I
wife
got
there?
dude, this is what I when I got to that point in the story, I was like, I swear to God, if the wife is in on it, I'm gonna freaking lose it. She's not.
Oh, thank
So
God.
he then, instead of taking her out, because that would be stupid, because it's an apartment complex, he drags the entire container with her in it all the way up to his apartment. Once inside, he essentially like slips the container lid off, and Robinson said she just took in every detail she could find. She was like, I was trying to read the address on his mail. I was looking at magnets on the fridge. I saw who his doctor was. I saw who his dentist was. I just remembered everything that I could about his life. So he then asked her a whole bunch of questions about her life, and he was like writing them down. So in turn, she tried to open dialogue and say like, oh, well, why don't you tell me about your military service? Why don't you tell me about, you have fish here? Why don't you tell me about your fish? Tell me about your lizards, blah blah blah. Just collecting
Mhm.
anything that she could on him. And
At 15?
at 15,
She's putting
at
in work.
15. Yeah, dude, insane. Um, but then she says in the interview at this point, she's like, I knew in my head, people don't kidnap young girls to not sexually assault them. I know what's coming. So she mentally prepared herself, and she basically said, I
Mhm.
just turned off my brain. I left my body behind. I just turned off my brain, and I let everything happen because I needed him to think that I wasn't going to try to make an escape. But this entire time, she was trying to wait until he was complacent and sure that she wasn't going to do anything so that she could do something. So
Mm.
8 hours in to her being held at the apartment, which she was there for 18 hours, he turns
Mm.
on the local news to see if her abduction made it into the news. It didn't.
What a
So
freak.
he then looked at her and basically said, nobody is going to miss you, and I will release you, and you can go to the police, but you would always be known as the girl who got R worded. What
Jesus.
kind of fucking psychology is that? Like, what? Um,
What a sick freak.
Yeah, I know. And then at some point after that, he stuffed her back into the black storage container thing because he wanted
Uh-huh.
to make a phone call to his wife, Hope, who was on vacation with his mother at
Oh my
Disney
god.
World.
What? That took a left turn.
Isn't that crazy? I think
Jesus.
that is like, what are you doing? You send your wife and your mom to Disney World so that you can abduct a teenager? That is a special kind of sick. But
Yeah.
Yeah, so he makes that call, and then sometime later, he essentially gives her a marijuana and Valium cocktail. Like, he just drugs her up. And he then like restrains her to the bed. He uses like handcuffs. He ties one of her legs to a corner of the bed. And then he curls up and falls asleep next to her like some freaking crazy bitch. Um,
Ew.
this is what I think is crazy is that while he was asleep, because she was like, when I woke up the next morning he was still sleeping, this is what she does. She pulls one of the handcuffs that she's got on her
Mhm.
towards her mouth, and she uses her teeth to unscrew the handcuffs.
Wow.
So she uses it, it's like like a screw on a clasp that is like keeping like the handcuffs are like linked to. So she
Yeah.
essentially unscrews that clasp so that she can get free from the cuffs. Like the one cuff is still around her, but it's free from the bed now. So then she's able to free herself. And she just said she moved as slow as possible. She undid the restraints on her like her ankles, and then she was able to like kind of get up and move without him waking up. When she gets to the front door, there's like an accordion style closet, one of the ones that like come out and fold, you know? And
Mhm.
it is opened to block access to the front door. So she essentially opens the front door and closes the closet at the same time as to not make enough like constant noise to not give him enough
Yeah.
time to wake up and come running after her, right? So she does this at the same time so that it won't make that much noise. It won't alert him quick enough. And then she just
Mhm.
bolts out of the apartment. There's a car passing with two guys in it. And she essentially was like, "You need to take me to the police station. I've been kidnapped." So before she leaves the area, she like turns around and she just studies the apartment so that she can remember which one it is to tell the police. They then drive her to
Wow.
Richland County Sheriff Department. And this is what happens. This is a quote from her. "The deputy that was there, I felt he didn't believe me with what I was saying, and I still had handcuffs on one of my wrists. It was pretty infuriating. Here I am. I've actually done what I've set out to do. I escaped, and now I'm in the area and should be in a safe zone, but now I'm being treated like I'm lying about everything."
'Cause she's
So,
a kid.
yeah, because she's 15 and she like wants attention, I guess is what they thought, but like what the hell? Um so their plans were to take her to a hospital to get a kit done for her assault.
Mhm.
But before that, they wanted her to identify his apartment, so they drove her back to the complex. And because all of the units were like carbon copied, she actually couldn't figure out which one it was. Like she couldn't properly remember. But
Damn.
she knew that the woman that lived there had long red hair because she noticed a hairbrush with long red hair while she was there. So they stopped a property manager, and essentially the manager knew exactly who it was. So he like directed them to the unit that Evanitz lived in, but he had already dipped out. He had already fled.
Damn.
Thus began the complete fleeing from the authorities, because he was like, I think the second he woke up, he was like, "Oh, she's gone. I gotta go. I gotta get out of the country or something." Um,
Yeah.
but essentially, what happened was they got after all was said and done, they got a warrant to search his apartment, and they found old newspaper clippings about the Lisk sisters that he had killed. So they reached
Mhm.
out to his sister, who she was like, "I know where he's been hiding." And she gave them the address of like a motel that was, I think they said like 40 minutes away, but he had already disappeared once they got there. Um and so due to uh Kara Robinson's essentially like statement and testimony, They
Mhm.
knew a shit ton of information. I mean, they knew his name, they knew places he had been, they knew what kind of car he drove, they knew his address, they knew his wife, right? They knew everything. He was
Yeah.
spotted in Sarasota, Florida, and the police pulled him over. Before they could actually get to him, he shot himself in the head.
Of course.
Yep.
Damn it.
And the quote that I have from her is she said, "I remember just hoping they could catch up with him because I wanted to have my day in court across from him. I wanted him to look at me across a courtroom and know that choosing me was the biggest mistake he would ever make." Uh
What a
so I know
flex.
she's such a bad bitch, dude. I love her. So after his death, police connected him to the kidnapping and murder of Sofia Silva in September of '96, as well as the Lisk sisters. They had no idea that he was behind these until Robinson escaped and identified him. So she helped put 3 cold cases to rest at 15.
Wow.
Um, and the fibers from the handcuffs, because they were fuzzy handcuffs that he used on her, were also
Mhm.
found on all 3 bodies, but they weren't able to tell where they came from because he kept the handcuffs. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So here's a little update, or here's like the next chapter of her life. Ready?
Mm.
After she was released from the hospital, she went home. She worked through like a private recovery because she didn't want people to really know what was going on with her life. She she said, I wanted to go home, but I didn't want anyone to treat me like I was made of glass, and I didn't want to talk about this thing that I had gone through. She said, I don't say why me because saying why me can be a slippery slope into feeling sorry for yourself. I know it was me because God gave me the strength to get out of that apartment. So, a
Wow.
year after this all happens, she gets a summer job at the sheriff department that she was dropped off at after escaping Richard Evanitz, right? After high school, she enters college to become a teacher, but switches career paths to law enforcement. And she attends the
Wow.
South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. While sitting in class one day, the instructor teaches about her case.
No way.
The day's lessons were surrounded, or like were made up of like survivors and
Mm.
what happened to her while with evidence was literally thrown out to the entire class. And at the end of the class, she went up to the instructor and she was like, I just want you to know that Kara is me. That's me. That's my story. So
Yeah.
she was also the only woman in her class, and she graduated in 2010 and went on to be a school resource officer in Richland County, South Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah. And then so the other half of that is she also is married. She has 2 sons. She appeared in a television special called Smart Justice with a fellow survivor, Elizabeth Smart, whose story is also freaking crazy.
Wait, I know that last name. Did we
Eliz-
talk about her?
Elizabeth Smart. Let me get a photo of her for you because you might know her. Um, she was
I know that name.
she was another kidnap victim. Um, Hold on.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll send this to you. I'll also post it in on topic for the people who are listening and would like to see. That is for you. And
Mhm.
this is for you guys. But yeah, she's like, because Elizabeth Smart was from Salt Lake City, I think, and she was abducted, and she went on after she grabbed like national headlines for it. She went on to be like a child safety activist. So
Yeah.
they appeared on Sweet Justice together because they both escaped and they both were able to turn their stories into like something positive, whether it be by law enforcement or it be by, activists and like safety awareness raising. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they they went on that television special, and it actually
Yes, I know this story.
yeah, and
Okay, okay. I just
it
did a quick summary.
it was also like it was those two, and then like six other, it might have been six total, but I think it was six survivors total that were brought
Mm-hmm.
in to essentially talk about their experiences and then like what they did afterwards, like how they turned it into something positive. um Robinson then went on to essentially share her story more and more, so she created a TikTok account that she essentially shares things like how to get out of handcuffs, how to heal from trauma, how to recover from sexual abuse, or how to recover from like extreme violence. And she
Mm-hmm.
currently has 224,000 followers. Her
Wow.
bio reads survivor, mom, wife, educator, inspiration, athlete.
Jeez. She deserves
Hmm.
all of those. I won't lie.
I literally, when I think about this story, all I can think about is that if you put me in this situation, I don't think that I would have the intelligence or maybe just like the quick access to my intelligence to say, okay, look at his mail, look at his fridge, figure out who his dentist is. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, whoever raised that little girl, they did right by
Dude,
everything.
I I think it's insane. She's also, let me grab a picture of her. She is so pretty.
That's insane.
I know. And it's like, dude,
So, in the
imagine
end, did
getting into,
he go ahead?
I was just going to say, imagine getting into college and saying, like, oh, I'm going to be a cop. And then one of your case studies while you're becoming a cop is your case.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm
crazy.
going to put this
Wait,
into
did
on
she go
topic
under
for
a
you
fake name?
guys. No, she just got married. So her name was Kara Chamberlain after that.
Oh, oh, duh.
Hmm.
That's right.
So I think
Gotcha.
she did the thing where you put your maiden name as your middle name. So she's Kara Robinson Chamberlain. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. But she does have a Prime Video. I haven't watched it. I now need to watch it. She does have a Prime Video like story coverage. It's called The Girl Who Escaped. So if you guys are interested, I recommend. Well, I can't recommend it because I haven't watched it, but like I think it would be cool to watch. um, but yeah, other than that, the way that I learned about her was the show she was on where they brought on all the survivors. So
Hmm.
I would recommend checking out that episode or her special on Oxygen, which is what I used to do my research because it's her firsthand account. And she's
Mm.
really good at explaining it, not only because she lived it, but because now that she's in law enforcement, she knows like all the correct terminology and everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very like professional, but also very like eerie because she's talking about it like it's a case that she studied, not like it's something that happened to her. So it's almost kind of interesting to look at like how she's compartmentalized it, because she really has
Yeah.
said like I have separated myself from that person because that person was the victim and I am the survivor. And I think that is amazing.
My God.
That mindset is, I can't she's the strongest mind I've ever seen in my life.
The strongest, like, little girl mind. Like, I
Yeah.
understand, like, her being a very strong, independent woman growing up, having gone through this, but to have that kind of mindset early on
Yeah.
and to then move it forward into your adult life and keep persevering, even though you went through something super traumatic,
Yeah.
is insane.
I know. I don't
I
know
don't think
how
I
she
would
did
even
it.
have the manpower myself.
I think if I were to go through something like this and I would survive it, I think that would be the rest of my life. I think I would never get over it. I genuinely like, I
Yeah.
think I would want to and I think I would try to, but I don't think I would have the strength.
Yeah. Or at least like if I did, that there would be certain days where it would be like I couldn't do anything. You know, like I would be
Yeah.
riddled with like grief and like depression over it.
Yeah. There was a girl I wanted to cover who I'll give the quick summary because I don't remember her name. I'll try to look it up while I talk. But she's also one of the ones where I don't think that I would have been able to bring myself to do it, because I think I don't think that I would have the ability to switch off my fear, because that's what these girls did. They switched off their fear, they went completely numb, and they
Mm.
just like endured it until they could find a way out of it. Because this other girl,
Yeah,
she
when she
was,
said she turned off her brain, I was like,
no,
nah,
could never.
nah.
Um, this girl that I'm remembering, she was in the car with her cousin, and they had a like window shattered, and they heard a giant boom, and the girl looked down, and her arm had essentially been blown off by a shotgun.
Oh my
And
God.
yes, and they were just driving along a road, and this guy stopped behind them, and the cousin was like, it's okay, we're gonna call the police, it's gonna be fine. So they get out their phone to call the police, and the guy walks up to the window, and he's basically like, oh, what happened, da, 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 da. And the cousin's trying to explain it, and he grabs the phone, breaks it, and then shoots the cousin, right? Kills her on spot. He then
In front of that other
drags,
chick?
yes, in front of the girl who got hit by the shotgun blast. He then drags the girl who's still alive out into the woods, essays her, and then when he's done, this is what this girl does. I think this is crazy. She goes, oh my God, thank you. And he's like, what? And she's like, you saved me. There was a guy back there who he shot me. Do you see this? You saved my life. And he's like, oh, I guess I did. And she's like, do you have like, I'm bleeding a lot. Do you have somewhere I could go to clean up? And so he brings her to his mobile home that sat at like the top of the hill, and
Oh
like
my God.
lets her inside, and she's like, hey, listen, I'm still losing like a whole lot of blood. I'm sorry, it was at the bottom of the hill, because she climbs the hill later. um
Mm.
but it's at the bottom of the hill, and she's like, she gets in, and she's like thanking him, she's like gassing him up, and she's at one point like, hey, I'm still losing a lot of blood, I need to call an ambulance. And he's like, no, no cops. She's like, I don't want to call the cops. I don't need to. You saved me. They don't have to save me, but I'm bleeding out. I need an ambulance. he lets her he lets her call an ambulance, and he's on the phone with that, because she's on the phone, and she's like, no, yeah, he is right here, he saved me, he's standing right here. Meanwhile, on the phone, they're asking, is the man with you, is the guy who shot you with you? So she's just completely playing this, and then she goes, yep, we don't want cops though, because I'm okay, I just need an ambulance, but he saved me, so he doesn't want the cops to come, neither do I. And so then they say, okay, ma'am, well, we'll send you a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, an ambulance. But where are you? And she's like, I don't know the address. And then she looks at him. He fucking gives them the address.
Oh my God.
And then
She's so smart.
I reverse psychology is a hell of a thing. So
Oh my God.
the ambulance shows up, because he says, park at the top of the hill, she'll walk. And so the ambulance shows up, and she said, I was losing so much blood, I was ready to faint, but I had to go. So I was walking up, I was stumbling, I was falling. He's behind me, following me, laughing, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I thought I was losing consciousness because I saw the trees swaying. Wasn't losing consciousness. There was a SWAT team in the trees. So when they got to the
Oh
top of
my
the hill,
God.
SWAT team came in and got him. But
That's
like,
amazing.
I would have never thought to do that.
No,
No.
not in a
How did
million
you know?
years.
She said, I didn't know if it was going to work, but it was my only chance to try. And I was like, yeah, I think at that
You
point
know
I would have
what?
been
I'm
like,
there with you.
yeah, I think I would have probably thought the same thing, but knowing my luck, he would have been like, wow, you're crazy, and then shot me.
Yeah. Wait, so was he the shotgun guy?
Yeah.
Wait, so he bought that she said, yo, you saved me from that dude who shot me when he's the same guy?
Well, I think she was trying to convince him, which apparently worked, that she didn't think he was the guy who shot her.
So she's so lucky that she
Yes.
got a stupid man. I was
Yes.
gonna say murderer, but he didn't kill her. So
Yeah.
oh my God.
I
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
glad the luck was on her side then. Jeez.
yes, me too, because the idea of like saying something like that and then them being like, I was the one who shot you. It's like, well, there goes your whole plan.
Yeah.
And now he's told it to you, so what's stopping him from getting rid of loose ends?
True.
Yeah.
Damn.
So she got really lucky, but also props to her for staying calm and like going that far with it. Because even if the first one worked, I would not press my freaking luck. The second she got there and said, I need to call an ambulance, I said, oh, bitch, couldn't be me. I would,
Yeah,
I
no.
would be like, he bought the one, he's not going to buy the next one.
Yeah, I would be very lucky on the one time.
Yeah.
Pushing my luck for another would have been a crazy
And
thing to
then
do.
him giving the address, I was like, this can't be real.
Yeah,
Now,
and then she just casually turned over and was like, "Address, please?" And he's like, "Oh yeah,
address?
sure."
And he's like, yeah, let me give that to you. And then he said, hey, just send an ambulance, park on the hill. They were like, yeah, of course.
I'm
what I
like,
would,
"What? There's
what
no
I, what I
way."
would kill to find it though, so I can show you, because they have the 911 call. Like they played the 911 call.
Well, that's
And it
insane.
is,
That would be I would love to be a fly
yes,
on the wall.
me too. So if I can find it, I will both share it with you, but I will also post it with On Topic for anybody who wants to hear it. It is bone chilling.
Perfect. You know, one of these days, maybe we'll do it for a podcast, but I think we should listen to 911 ones, like where we
911
sit there, 911 space ones.
once. Yeah.
Because I think there are just so many like crazy calls, not in the way that
I
like it
know.
needs to be like a direct
So,
something happens, but like
yeah,
the craziest phone calls would be such a good thing to listen
really
to. Like,
kind
whoa.
of messed up Veda lore.
Okay.
Me and Lexi used to hang out after I would get off of work. And sometimes what we would do is we would both be on our switches, we would be playing blah, and we would put something on the TV to chill out to, right? Sometimes it was like other people gaming. Sometimes it was like horror stories narrated by Corpse Husband.
Okay,
Sometimes
but
it
those are
was,
fire though.
yes, they are. Sometimes it was Amogus lobbies. Sometimes it was compilations of 911 calls. So I've
Yeah,
dabbled.
I've dabbled.
I've dabbled. I will say.
Well, hell yeah. That could maybe be one we bring
Yeah,
up.
that would be
That
a
would be
that
a
would be a
lot of like reaction though,
Yeah,
you know?
I think it could be fun though. Maybe we do that like special for like, our an anniversary or like when we get to 100th
True.
episode or something.
Or maybe we can at least get them transcribed because then we can read it.
Yeah, that would be fun. But I almost feel like it takes away from
Now it's better
hearing
on
it.
the
Yeah,
phone.
that's
It
what I'm saying. Okay, wait,
does.
hear me out. We get voice changers that make it sound like we're on a phone and we act them out.
Hell yeah. I'm down.
That'd be crazy. That'd be insane. But no, there are some crazy ones out there. It would be fun to react to them on stream because like anything that was posted in the last like 4 years, I probably don't know. But some of the ones we used to hear were insane because it would be things like a woman would be like, "There's a blah blah blah. I shot my brother," and they would be like, "You what?" And she would be like, "Yep,
Yeah.
he wouldn't shut up. I shot him." And it's like
Yeah,
they're
the
so
late 2000s,
lifeless.
early 2010s is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
I think my favorite, and it's not a real one, it's from a movie. But for those of you Coveys who have seen the movie The Call, starring
Yes.
Halle Berry,
Yeah.
oh my God.
I want to watch it
Those
now.
two, I'm ready to watch it
What
after
are you
this.
doing
I
after
swear to
this?
God. Do you want to go in the treehouse? On
Yeah, you want to go
God.
to Treehouse and watch the call?
Yes. So there's two phone calls that happen. I mean, there's the length of it. That's why it's called The Call. But
Mm-hmm.
two parts of it where it literally, the first time I watched it, chills down my spine. I was like, "Ooh, I can't believe I'm listening to this." But it's done so well
Mm-hmm.
that that one and her sequel to it, which isn't like in the same like movie verse, but it's similar.
Right.
Kidnapped is also
Mm-hmm.
very good.
Yeah.
Both bone chilling.
Have you ever seen this one's not good, but it is entertaining. Have you
Oh,
ever seen Cellular starring Chris Evans?
maybe. Sounds
So
familiar.
science teacher gets abducted and they destroy the phone that's in a room. I don't remember the plot at all, but it is a fun watch. She gets abducted for whatever reason, and she's being held captive in this room. I think as a bargaining chip, but I'm not entirely sure. But she's a science teacher, right? So she gets the wires from the phone, and she essentially like the equivalent of hot wiring a phone. She does that, and it
Yeah.
calls Chris Evans, who's like a party boy. Like he's like a nobody party boy. And
Yeah.
it calls his cell phone. And he's like, all right. And she's like, no, no, don't hang up. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. And she explains her story. And the whole movie is him staying on the phone with her to try to find her.
Crazy enough, Jason Statham is the bad guy.
Yes, correct.
What the fuck?
It's actually a pretty fun watch, but this is actually a perfect way to put it. It is a Jason Statham movie. Like, it is a Jason Statham style movie. You have to
Yeah.
watch it because it sounds cool. You can't watch it thinking there's going to be a good plot.
Yeah.
There's like one scene
That's
I
why I watched the
remember.
Meg.
There's like, I love the Meg though. I
Shut
unironically
up!
love the
The
Meg.
Meg is so bad.
It's so
Shut
bad. I love it
up.
so much.
The second one is
You
so bad.
know
I
me.
watched the
I
first
love
just
bad
'cause.
movies. But yes, there's one scene that I remember in Cellular where because she's a science teacher, she knows all these random things, right? So she's going on an anatomy one, and
Yeah.
she's like talking to this guy, and she's like, "Hey, do you know this nerve that's in the armpit, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, well, the funny thing is, if you cut it, it paralyzes the body. And then she stabs him in the armpit. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of sick.
That's kind of hot.
Yeah, it's kind of sick. I won't lie. But there are some redeeming parts of the movie. I just think generally it's a bad movie.
Generally, it's the Jason Statham movie.
It is, yeah. It's kind of like what was the one he did like 6 of them and not even the first one popped off? Transporter.
Dude, yeah. Transporter.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 of them. And I was like, why the dude, the
Remember
second
that
one is so
awful
bad.
movie he did, Crank? Do you remember that awful movie, Crank? Have you ever seen it?
I don't think I've seen it because I saw the name and I said I will never.
It is literally a movie.
Crank.
I think it's like something like if he doesn't have adrenaline, he'll die. Like if he doesn't constantly pumping adrenaline. So there's like points where he's like stabbing himself with epinephrine. There's a point where I think his wife and him have like
Oh my god, wait, I think
sex
I've
on
seen
the
it.
street because that's like a way to get his adrenaline up. And I'm like, this movie is awful.
Oh my
It's
god, there's
so
2 of
bad.
them.
Yes, that was gonna be my point, is that they made a
That
freaking
was gonna
sequel.
be my point.
What? It was so bad. But Jason
Oh my
Statham is like
god.
famous, I feel like, for being in a bad movie and then somehow getting into the bad movie sequel.
Oh my god, why would he do this?
I
This movie
know.
looks terrible.
It is terrible.
Oh, I'm so glad I never watched it.
There's a point where I just feel like
Oh my
Jason
gods.
Statham is the type of guy to be like, I'll take whatever movie you hand me. Like, there's just a point. Because if you think about, I mean, there was movies that he was a part of that were so good. Like, The Italian Job is an incredible freaking movie. And then you did Transporter, which was like, okay, so for sure. But then you get into Crank. You get into, I can't remember the other one that he did. I think it was called Revolver. And it's like, eh. And then as you go on, you just see him like Death Race. Death Race was a terrible movie. Cool concept, terrible movie. I just
Jesus
don't get it.
Christ.
But
I
that's a
just don't
whole
get
other
it either.
tangent. That's a whole other tangent.
We're gonna get on movie tangent here if we don't
Yeah,
cut
yeah, yeah.
ourselves
We gotta
short
cut
here.
it. We gotta cut it off.
Well, I do hope you guys enjoyed the Curiosity Coroner for today. And in 2 weeks, we shall be back with another life update. And I don't think we're having a topic for next one. I think we're just fucking
I
sending
think
it,
we're
aren't we?
chilling. I think we're chilling on the next one.
Yeah.
So,
But for those of you guys who are listening, watching, hanging out, all that jazz, if you guys have any suggestions for any topics you guys would like us to cover, or if you have any interest in possibly talking to us about some stuff,
mhm.
please let us know. DM us in the Discord or personally, whatever you'd like. Um, But also make sure to catch up on episodes on YouTube and Spotify if you guys want to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But without further ado, thank you guys so much for listening. And remember, Coveys,
Keep it real, but keep
but
it
keep it
curious.
curious. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm looking at the ground, but I'm looking for a sign. Make up your mind. All I heard your voice calling, almost saw me with tonight, but it was just a butterfly. Love me not, or love me kind, just wishing that you make up your mind. Love me not, or love me kind, just make up your mind. Love me not, or love me kind, just wishing that you make up your mind. Love me not, or love me kind, just make up your mind. Love me not, love me not, love me not. I'm looking at the ground, but I'm looking for a sign. Make up your mind. All I heard your voice calling, almost saw me with tonight, but it was just a butterfly. Love me not, or love me kind, just wishing that you make up your mind. Love me not,